Welcome back to 15-Minute Discourse. We take your curiosity and turn it into a deep dive of knowledge.
That's right.
Today, we're tackling UFO sightings. You've sent us some intriguing reports and documents indicating a fascination with the history of these sightings, the different theories attempting to explain them, and what the U.S. government has officially said about the whole thing.
Right.
We'll examine specific cases, look at trends, and even touch on how UFOs have influenced culture.
It's fascinating to realize that while the term UFO might feel modern, the idea of unexplained aerial phenomena has been around for centuries.
So you're saying people have been spotting strange things in the sky long before we had terms like flying saucers?
Precisely. Think all the way back to 218 BC.
Wow.
Roman historian Livy documented phantom ships shining in the sky, and in 76 BC, Pliny the Elder described a spark from a falling star that grew to the size of the moon before transforming into a torch shape. These accounts from antiquity show that humans have always been intrigued by unusual events in the sky.
It makes you wonder if they were looking up at the same types of things people report today. So how did we go from phantom ships to flying saucers?
That shift can be traced to a specific event in 1947. Pilot Kenneth Arnold was flying near Mount Rainier when he reported seeing 9 large circular objects moving at incredible speeds. He described their movement as like a saucer if you skip it across water, and the media latched onto that vivid image.
That one observation really did spark the modern UFO craze. It's fascinating how a simple description can have such a massive cultural impact.
Arnold's sighting triggered a wave of similar reports, and flying saucer became synonymous with UFOs. This surge in interest also caught the attention of the U.S. government, leading to the first official investigations.
That's when things started to get really interesting. The U.S. government getting involved adds a whole other dimension to the story.
In 1947, the U.S. Air Force launched Project Saucer to collect and evaluate information on these sightings, marking the beginning of a series of government-led investigations.
So Project Saucer was the first official attempt to understand UFOs. What were some of the other key projects and how did their approaches differ?
Project Saucer was followed by Projects Sign, Grudge, and Blue Book. While each sought to determine if UFOs posed a national security threat or indicated advanced foreign technology, their approaches evolved over time.
So they weren't just dismissing UFOs as nonsense, they were actually taking them seriously as potential threats.
The possibility of Soviet secret weapons or even extraterrestrial technology was a real concern during the Cold War. This context heavily influenced not only government investigations, but also public perception.
It's amazing how the political climate can shape even scientific inquiries. Did any of these projects come to any concrete conclusions about UFOs?
Interestingly, while some early reports, like those from Projects IG, entertained the possibility of extraterrestrial origins, later investigations like Project GRUG took a more skeptical approach, attributing most sightings to misidentified objects, hoaxes, or psychological phenomena.
It sounds like they were trying to debunk UFO sightings. Was this shift due to changing scientific understanding, or were there other factors at play?
The changing political landscape of the Cold War likely played a role. The government didn't want to appear vulnerable or technologically inferior to the Soviets. Downplaying the significance of UFOs could have been a way to maintain a sense of control and national security.
So it wasn't necessarily about denying the existence of UFOs, but managing the narrative around them.
The most extensive investigation, Project BLU Book, ran from 1952 to 1969 and examined over 12,000 reports.
Wow.
It concluded that most sightings could be explained conventionally, but acknowledged that a small percentage remained unexplained. Even with a scientific approach and thousands of cases studied, some events defied easy categorization.
That's what keeps this topic so fascinating. Even in official investigations, there's still an element of mystery. What about some of those intriguing cases that couldn't be easily explained?
There are numerous cases that have captured the attention of researchers and the public alike. Each offers a glimpse into the diverse and perplexing nature of UFO sightings.
Let's explore some of these standout cases. What makes them so compelling?
One notable case occurred in 1981 in Trans-en-Provence, France. A UFO was reported to have landed in a field, leaving behind physical traces that were analyzed by scientists.
Did the analysis reveal anything conclusive?
While the traces were confirmed to be unusual, their exact origin remained a mystery. Some scientists suggested the traces could be related to intense heat or electromagnetic effects, often associated with UFO reports. But even with physical evidence, there was no definitive answer.
It seems like even when there's tangible evidence, it doesn't always lead to clear-cut answers. What other cases stand out?
In 1973, a Finnish Air Force pilot reported a fascinating sighting. He observed disc-shaped objects accelerating at speeds seemingly impossible for conventional aircraft. Another pilot in the area overheard the radio communication between the first pilot and air traffic control, corroborating the account. This added weight to the claims, making it difficult to dismiss as a simple misidentification.
It's always more compelling when multiple witnesses, particularly those with aviation expertise, report similar observations. Are there any other examples of these seemingly impossible feats of aerial maneuvering?
The 1980 Arequipa UFO incident in Peru involved a fighter pilot who actually fired on a UFO. The object, however, appeared to remain unaffected by the gunfire, adding another layer of intrigue to the encounter.
That takes things to a whole new level. It's hard to imagine what could withstand such firepower. Do any cases fall outside the typical UFO narratives of lights in the sky or strange objects?
The Voronezh UFO incident in the Soviet Union in 1989 features elements that go beyond the usual sightings. Multiple witnesses reported a large, glowing object landing in a park and even described encounters with strange beings and a robot. This case demonstrates the range of experiences associated with UFO sightings, moving beyond simple visual observations to alleged interactions.
So we have sightings with physical traces, impossible speeds, and even alleged alien encounters. It's clear that the variety of these reports makes it difficult to find a single explanation for all UFOs.
You're absolutely right. The diversity of UFO reports is one of the most challenging aspects of this phenomenon. It's what has led to numerous theories and hypotheses, each attempting to make sense of these seemingly disparate events.
Let's delve into those theories and explore the different ways people have tried to explain UFOs. What are some of the most popular explanations?
One of the most enduring theories is the extraterrestrial hypothesis, or ETH.
So this is the idea that some UFOs are actually spacecraft from other planets.
Precisely. The ETH has deep roots in science fiction and speculation about life on other planets, dating back to the early 20th century and even earlier.
Right.
Its proponents point to the advanced technology seemingly displayed by some UFOs and the lack of conventional explanations for certain sightings as evidence.
It's a theory that has captivated the public imagination for a long time. But there are other theories too, right?
Another intriguing idea is the time traveler hypothesis, which emerged in the 1970s.
Time travelers, you mean humans from the future visiting us in advanced spacecraft?
That's the idea. This hypothesis suggests that what we perceive as alien technology might actually be our own technology from a distant future. While more of a thought experiment than a theory with solid evidence, it offers a unique perspective on the humanoid appearance often reported in alien encounters.
So rather than extraterrestrials, these could be our descendants returning from a future where technology is advanced beyond our current understanding.
The time traveler hypothesis challenges our understanding of time and human evolution, reminding us that there may be possibilities we haven't even begun to consider.
It's certainly a thought-provoking concept, but we can't forget about the more down-to-earth explanations for UFO sightings.
Absolutely. It's crucial to remember that many sightings can be attributed to misidentified aircraft, weather balloons, satellites, or even natural phenomena like meteors and atmospheric lights.
So before jumping to conclusions about aliens or time travelers, we need to rule out the more mundane possibilities.
Critical thinking and scientific rigor are essential when evaluating UFO reports. The challenge lies in separating genuine, unexplained phenomena from misinterpretations and hoaxes.
This spectrum of explanations, from extraterrestrials to time travelers to misidentified weather balloons, demonstrates why the mystery of UFOs continues to intrigue us.
The lack of definitive answers only adds to the allure of this subject. It's a puzzle that continues to challenge our understanding of the world and our place in the universe.
And speaking of allure, let's not forget the enormous cultural impact of UFOs.
You're right. UFOs have permeated our culture in countless ways, from literature and film to music and even architecture. They reflect our fascination with the unknown and the possibility of life beyond Earth.
Let's talk about some specific examples. What about UFOs in science fiction?
Science fiction has played a major role in shaping our perceptions of UFOs and extraterrestrial life. Early works like The Shaver Mystery in the 1940s presented fantastical tales of advanced beings interacting with humans, while later classics like Close Encounters of the Third Kind offered a more cinematic exploration of alien contact.
These stories tap into our deepest fears and hopes about encountering other intelligent beings. What about UFOs in music? Have they influenced any particular artists or genres?
The band Yes, for instance, explores the idea of extraterrestrial visitation in their song Aliens. Even architecture has been inspired by UFO imagery, with buildings like the Kielce bus station in Poland designed to resemble a flying saucer. It's a testament to the enduring power of this phenomenon and how deeply it's embedded in our collective consciousness.
Okay, so we've established that UFOs have had a huge cultural impact. But what about recent developments? Has the U.S. government released any new information on UFOs?
In recent years, there has been a renewed interest in UFOs within the U.S. government. This shift is reflected in the terminology used, with the term UAP, or unidentified aerial phenomena, often replacing UFO in official contexts.
Is this just a change in wording? Or does UAP represent a different approach to these phenomena?
While both terms essentially refer to the same thing, unexplained aerial events, UAP is often preferred to avoid the stigma and conspiracy theories often associated with UFOs. This change in language reflects a move towards a more scientific and less sensationalized approach.
So it's an attempt to take the topic more seriously and focus on evidence-based analysis rather than speculation.
Precisely. The 2021 Pentagon UFO report marked a significant change in the government's approach to UAP. It acknowledged that many UAP sightings remain unexplained and that some could potentially pose a threat to national security.
So they're acknowledging the reality of the phenomenon without confirming any specific explanations, like extraterrestrial origins.
Exactly. The report highlighted the need for more research and data collection to better understand UAP. It was a step towards greater transparency, even though many classified documents and ongoing investigations remain secret.
So while they're being more open about the existence of UAP, there's still a level of secrecy surrounding the details.
The FY 2024 Consolidated Annual Report on UAP provided further insights into the government's ongoing efforts. It revealed a significant increase in reported UAP sightings, highlighting the challenges of obtaining reliable data and the need for improved data collection and analysis. This report emphasized the importance of collaboration with international partners to share information and develop best practices for resolving UAP cases.
So the mystery of UFOs is becoming a global concern.
It seems that way. The report also mentioned that some portion of sightings since the 1940s could be attributed to misidentified experimental and operational space, rocket, and air systems, including stealth technologies.
So some of those unexplained sightings might actually be advanced technology developed by various countries.
It's a possibility. The report suggested that during the Cold War and subsequent technological advancements, many new and classified aircraft and drones were developed and tested. These could easily be mistaken for something more exotic.
It's a reminder that technological advancements can often lead to misinterpretations and fuel speculation about UFOs. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from ancient sightings to recent government reports. What stands out to you from all this information about UFO sightings?
What's most striking is the enduring mystery surrounding this phenomenon. Despite decades of research and investigation, we still lack definitive answers about the nature and origin of many UAP.
It's a puzzle that continues to challenge our understanding of the world.
Indeed. And it raises important questions about our place in the universe and the possibility of encountering other intelligent life forms.
It's a topic that sparks our imagination and forces us to confront the limits of our knowledge.
Absolutely. And the pursuit of answers to these questions drives further research and exploration.
So the search for understanding continues.
Yes, and it's a search that will likely continue to captivate us for many years to come. It's interesting that you mentioned the challenge of separating genuine, unexplained phenomena from misinterpretations and hoaxes. That's one of the biggest hurdles in UFO research.
With a topic as sensational as UFOs, it's understandable that there's a lot of misinformation and sensationalism out there. How can we navigate this sea of information and identify reliable sources?
One important step is to focus on evidence-based research and analysis. Organizations like the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, and the Center for UFO Studies, CUFOS, have been collecting and investigating UFO reports for decades, using a systematic approach to evaluating sightings.
So these organizations are like the veterans of UFO research. They rely on more than just anecdotal evidence.
They collect eyewitness accounts, physical evidence, and conduct scientific analysis to try to make sense of UFO reports. Their approach is more grounded compared to some of the wilder theories out there.
It sounds like they're approaching UFO research from a more scientific and investigative perspective, rather than jumping to conclusions about aliens or government cover-ups.
They're more like detectives trying to solve a complex puzzle. They gather data, look for patterns, and try to find explanations while remaining objective and avoiding bias.
But even with experienced organizations like MUFON and CUFOS, there's still a lot of debate and disagreement within the field of UFO research, right?
There are different schools of thought and interpretations of the evidence. The lack of definitive answers leaves room for speculation and differing perspectives.
It's like we're piecing together a giant jigsaw puzzle with some pieces missing and others that don't quite fit.
Every new sighting, every new piece of evidence adds another layer to the mystery. It's what makes this topic so complex and fascinating.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the psychological and sociological aspects of UFO sightings. Why are people so drawn to this topic? What is it about UFOs that captures our imagination?
There are multiple factors at play. UFOs tap into our innate curiosity about the unknown. Humans are explorers by nature, driven to understand the world around us and push the boundaries of our knowledge.
So the possibility of extraterrestrial life or advanced technology from other worlds is incredibly intriguing because it challenges our understanding of our place in the universe.
It forces us to consider the possibility that we're not alone. That concept can be both exciting and terrifying at the same time.
UFOs also play into our fears and anxieties. Especially during times of uncertainty or upheaval, people may look to the skies for answers or explanations.
The idea of a powerful external force, whether it's aliens or something else, can be both comforting and unsettling, depending on how people interpret those forces and their intentions.
So it's not just about the sightings themselves, it's about how we make sense of them and what they mean to us as individuals and as a society.
UFOs are a cultural phenomenon that reflects our hopes, fears, and beliefs about the world. Those beliefs can vary widely from person to person, leading to different interpretations of the same events.
Some people might see UFOs as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation, while others might dismiss them as hoaxes or misidentifications. It's a spectrum of beliefs.
That's why it's important to approach this topic with an open mind, but also with a critical eye. We need to be both curious and skeptical.
Speaking of skepticism, one thing that often comes up in UFO discussions is the idea of government cover-ups.
The belief that governments are hiding information about UFOs is a persistent theme in ufology. This belief is fueled by the government's history of secrecy surrounding certain projects and technologies.
The lack of transparency can create suspicion, even if there's no deliberate attempt to deceive.
Historical events like the Roswell incident in 1947 have contributed to this perception. The initial reports of a crashed flying disc, followed by government denials, created a breeding ground for speculation and conspiracy theories.
Even though the government later clarified that the debris was from a weather balloon, the incident became a symbol of government cover-ups, and it continues to be debated to this day.
The Roswell incident is a prime example of how a lack of transparency can erode public trust and fuel belief in cover-ups. This distrust can make it difficult for people to accept official explanations even when evidence is presented.
So even if the government releases evidence or reports, some people will still believe that there's more to the story.
The belief in cover-ups is deeply ingrained for some and can become a matter of faith rather than a matter of evidence.
We've explored sightings, investigations, theories, cultural influences, and government secrecy. It's a complex tapestry of factors that contribute to the ongoing fascination and controversy surrounding UFOs.
This topic touches on so many different aspects of human experience, from our scientific curiosity to our spiritual beliefs to our relationship with authority.
Our fascination with UFOs reflects who we are as a species. It highlights our hopes, fears, and our enduring quest for knowledge.
It's also a reminder of the limits of our understanding. We may never have all the answers, but the search for those answers is what keeps us moving forward.
Let's dive back into the history of U.S. government involvement with UFOs. You mentioned earlier that there were several official investigations. Can you elaborate on those?
As we discussed, the U.S. Air Force took the lead on UFO investigations starting in 1947 with Project Saucer. This marked the beginning of a series of projects that aimed to determine if UFOs posed a threat to national security or were evidence of advanced foreign technology.
These projects were shrouded in secrecy, weren't they?
Many aspects of them were classified. The government was concerned about potential panic if the public believed that Earth was being visited by extraterrestrials. They were also worried about revealing sensitive information about their own technological capabilities.
So they wanted to control the narrative and avoid any potential threats to national security or public order.
These projects weren't just about dismissing UFO sightings. They involved serious investigation and analysis of thousands of reports, witness interviews, and physical evidence.
So it was a balancing act between investigating the phenomenon and managing the information released to the public.
The first of these projects, Project SciGN, ran from 1947 to 1949 and was one of the first serious attempts to study UFO reports.
What were their key findings?
There's some debate about their conclusions. Officially, they lean towards explaining most sightings as misidentifications or natural phenomena. However, some researchers believe that there was a faction within Project Cygen that favored the extraterrestrial hypothesis.
So there was internal disagreement about the nature of UFOs, even within the government's own investigations.
This highlights the challenges of interpreting evidence and the subjective nature of some of these investigations.
The next project, Project GRUGE, ran from 1949 to 1951, and is often seen as a more skeptical turn in government investigations.
They tended to explain sightings as misidentified objects, hoaxes, or psychological phenomena.
Was their skepticism driven by evidence, or were there other factors influencing their approach?
The Cold War context likely played a role. The government was highly sensitive to any potential threats from the Soviet Union and didn't want to appear vulnerable or technologically inferior.
So downplaying the significance of UFO sightings could have been a way to maintain a sense of control and national security.
Some researchers believe that Project GRUGG may have been too quick to dismiss certain reports, potentially overlooking or misclassifying genuine UFO sightings due to the political climate.
The most well-known of these projects, Project Blue Book, ran from 1952 to 1969, making it the longest-running official investigation into UFOs.
They investigated over 12,000 UFO reports, concluding that most sightings could be explained as misidentified objects or natural phenomena. However, they acknowledged that a small percentage of cases remained unexplained.
So even Project Blue Book, which is often associated with debunking UFO sightings, couldn't explain everything they investigated.
Those unexplained cases continue to intrigue researchers and fuel speculation. Project
Blue Book
also faced criticism for being too quick to dismiss certain sightings and lacking scientific rigor, contributing to the growing distrust of government explanations among UFO enthusiasts.
So we have three major projects, SIN, GRID-G, and Blue Book, each approaching the UFO phenomenon with varying degrees of skepticism and openness.
It's important to remember that these projects operated within a specific historical and political context. The Cold War, the space race, the fear of Soviet aggression all shaped how the government addressed UFOs.
The tension between national security concerns and scientific curiosity is a recurring theme in this history.
With the recent release of new government reports and the establishment of the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group, AOIMSG, the focus on UFOs or UAPs has returned to the forefront. This suggests a renewed interest in understanding these phenomena and a potential shift towards greater transparency.
The AOIMSG's focus on data collection and analysis could lead to a more scientific and transparent approach to UAP research.
While we've made progress in understanding UFOs or UAPs, there's still much to learn. We're only beginning to scratch the surface of this mystery.
Now let's delve deeper into some of those intriguing cases you mentioned earlier, starting with the 1981 Transalpes-Provence case in France. This case is often cited as one of the most well-documented UFO sightings with physical evidence.
On January 8, 1981, a farmer named Renato Nicolazzi reported seeing a strange object land in his vineyard. He described it as a round, metallic object about 2.5 meters in diameter.
What happened when the object landed?
Nicolazzi claimed that the object made a whistling sound and caused the ground to vibrate. He also reported seeing two circular marks where the object had touched down.
This case is notable for the physical traces left behind.
Scientists from the French government agency Japan investigated the site, collecting soil samples and analyzing them for any unusual chemical or radiological signatures.
Did they find anything unusual?
The analysis revealed some intriguing findings. There were traces of phosphate and zinc in the soil samples that were higher than normal.
Could this be linked to the alleged UFO?
Some researchers believe that the chemical anomalies could be evidence of intense heat or electromagnetic effects associated with the object. However, some skeptics have suggested that the traces could be from agricultural chemicals or other environmental factors.
So even with physical evidence, there's still room for debate and interpretation.
The Transalpes-Provence case highlights the challenges of interpreting evidence and the lack of definitive proof in UFO research.
Let's move on to the 1973 Finnish Air Force sighting. This case stands out because it involves multiple witnesses and corroborating reports.
On January 7, 1973, a pilot named Tarmo Tukeva was flying a Fuga Magister jet trainer when he reported seeing 7 unidentified objects in the sky. He described them as disc-shaped and metallic, flying in formation and moving at high speeds.
Were there any other witnesses to this event?
Another pilot named Juko Koronen was flying in the same area and overheard the radio communication between Tukeva and air traffic control. Coronin corroborated Tukeba's account, stating that he also observed the objects and that their movement was inconsistent with conventional aircraft.
Having two experienced pilots reporting similar observations lends credibility to the sighting. Did the Finnish Air Force investigate this incident?
They investigated but were unable to identify the objects. The Finnish Air Force sighting remains one of the most compelling UFO cases in Europe due to the multiple credible witnesses and the unusual nature of the object's movement.
It's interesting how these sightings often involve experienced pilots who are familiar with different types of aircraft. This raises the question of what could possibly explain these observations if they're not misidentifications.
The 1980 Arequipa UFO incident in Peru takes things a step further as it involves a fighter pilot firing on a UFO.
What were the circumstances surrounding this event?
On April 11, 1980, a pilot named Oscar Santa Maria Huertas was scrambled to intercept an unidentified object that had entered restricted airspace. He was flying a Sukhoi Su-22 fighter jet and encountered a disc-shaped metallic object about 10 meters in diameter, emitting a bright white light.
And he fired on this object.
Huertas fired a burst of 30-millimeter cannon rounds at the UFO. However, according to his report, the object was unaffected by the gunfire and continued to fly normally before disappearing.
It's hard to imagine what could withstand such firepower. Some people might question the reliability of his testimony.
Huertas was a respected pilot with a distinguished military record. While we can't definitively prove or disprove his account, the Arequipa UFO incident remains one of the most puzzling and controversial cases in UFO history.
The last case you mentioned, the Voronezh UFO incident in the Soviet Union, introduces elements that go beyond the typical UFO narrative.
On September 27, 1989, several school children in Voronezh reported seeing a large, pink, glowing object land in a park. They claimed that a three-eyed alien being emerged from the object, describing it as tall, humanoid, and wearing silver overalls. They also reported seeing a robot accompanying the alien being.
Were there any other witnesses besides the children?
Several adults also reported seeing the object in the sky, corroborating the children's accounts. The Soviet authorities investigated the incident but were unable to provide a conclusive explanation.
This case highlights the cultural differences in how UFO sightings are reported and interpreted.
In the West, we tend to focus on the technological aspects of UFOs, while in Russia, there's often a more mystical or spiritual element to these encounters. Our cultural backgrounds and beliefs shape our perceptions of UFOs.
The Voronezh UFO incident is a reminder that the world of UFOs is full of diverse and often contradictory accounts. It's this diversity and mystery that keeps us fascinated by this topic.
It's a vast and complex field with many unanswered questions. As we continue to explore and investigate, we may uncover new insights into the nature of these phenomena. It's remarkable how the conversation around UFOs has shifted from the fringes of society to mainstream discussions. Just a few years ago, talking about UFOs in serious circles was almost taboo.
Now we have government officials, scientists, and even former presidents openly discussing the phenomenon. It seems like there's been a significant shift in how we approach this topic.
This shift reflects a growing recognition that there are legitimate questions to be answered about UAP. It's no longer just a matter of belief or disbelief, but a subject worthy of scientific inquiry.
So the focus has moved from speculation and sensationalism to evidence-based analysis and investigation.
This new approach is a positive development. It opens the door to more rigorous research and a deeper understanding of these phenomena.
What do you see as the future of UFO research? Where do we go from here, and what are some of the key challenges and opportunities?
One of the biggest challenges is data collection. As we've discussed, many UAP sightings rely on eyewitness accounts, which can be unreliable or prone to misinterpretation.
So we need more objective data from sensors and instruments to complement eyewitness testimony.
That's where technology plays a crucial role. We need to develop advanced sensors and systems capable of detecting and tracking UAP with greater accuracy and reliability.
What kind of technologies could be used to improve data collection in UFO research?
Advanced radar systems, optical sensors, infrared cameras, and even artificial intelligence could all contribute to gathering more objective data.
By leveraging these technologies, we can get a clearer picture of what's happening in our skies.
Once we have more reliable data, we can analyze it more effectively, using sophisticated algorithms and data analysis techniques to identify patterns, trends, and anomalies that might reveal the nature and origin of UAP.
There's a two-pronged approach. improving data collection, and developing more sophisticated analysis tools.
This will require collaboration between scientists, engineers, and government agencies. It's a multidisciplinary effort that will benefit from expertise in various fields.
And considering that UAP are a global phenomenon, international cooperation is essential for progress.
Sharing information and resources between countries is crucial for a comprehensive understanding of these phenomena. International collaboration can also lead to the development of standardized protocols for reporting and investigating UAP sightings.
What about the role of the public in all of this? Can ordinary citizens contribute to UFO research?
Citizen scientists play a valuable role in reporting sightings and collecting data. Platforms like MUFON's UFO reporting system allow anyone to share their experiences and contribute to a growing database of UAP sightings.
So the public can act as the eyes and ears of UFO research, providing valuable data points from around the world.
It's important for people to be responsible and critical when reporting sightings. Providing accurate and detailed information without jumping to conclusions or spreading misinformation is crucial for the integrity of UFO research.
So citizen science relies on careful observation, critical thinking, and responsible reporting.
By combining the efforts of scientists, government agencies, and citizen scientists, we can make significant strides in unraveling the mysteries of UAP.
The future of UFO research holds exciting possibilities. New technologies, increased data collection, international collaboration, and the growing involvement of citizen scientists all contribute to a more comprehensive and robust approach to this fascinating field.
We may be on the verge of unlocking some of the biggest mysteries of our time as we continue to explore and investigate UAP.
It's been an incredible journey exploring the history, theories, and future of UFO research. What stands out to you from everything we've talked about today?
The sheer variety of reports and experiences surrounding this topic is truly mind-boggling.
It really is. We've gone from ancient phantom ships to modern-day fighter pilot encounters, from theories of extraterrestrial visitation to the possibility of time travel. It's a topic that pushes the boundaries of our imagination and challenges our understanding of reality.
And while we may not have all the answers yet, the pursuit of those answers is what makes this field so compelling. It speaks to our innate curiosity, our desire to explore the unknown, and our quest to understand our place in the cosmos.
Absolutely. And as we continue to gather more data, refine our methods, and collaborate with experts from around the world, who knows what incredible discoveries await us. The mystery of UFOs is far from solved, and the journey to unravel it is only just beginning.
I'm excited to see where the future of UFO research takes us.
Me too. And if you'd like to continue exploring this fascinating topic with us, be sure to subscribe to 15-Minute Discourse. We'll be back soon with more deep dives into the subjects that ignite your curiosity. Until then, keep those minds open and keep looking up.